hearing all these things about interest rates going up and credit getting tight again. And I think everybody who lived through 2008 was just scared to death because there wasn't any capital available at that point. I really think it's prudent that a business has a cash flow plan right now, that they're managing their cash, they're trying to pay down their debt. I'm not going to say that they get conservative on capital expenditures, but I would be as close to debt-free if I was an existing business as you could get, just until the turbulent waters kind of get over. And hey, it could be within 30 days, but you know, there's too many challenges right there. Other than that, though, I think Obamacare and the whole Affordable Care Act, there's a lot of uncertainty, even though the water's getting clearer on what it means to a business owner. I still think that's got some business owners nervous. But in terms of marketing that, they truly are seeing people wanting to buy if everything kind of, how do I say this, if we don't get some cloudy skies, if it gets clear, I think the market could be really good. It's been pent up for so long now. I think there's some great opportunities ahead for a business owner who's willing to stick it out.
Absolutely. And I think therein lies the difference. You mentioned earlier about owning your own business. And as you would say, it's not for the faint of heart.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. You've got to be committed. Yeah. You've got to know that, especially that first year, it's not a 40-hour job. You are working for yourself, and to a certain extent, how successful you are is what you get to eat, whether it's peanut butter and jelly or steaks. Yeah. But that first couple years of business, you really have to build that clientele, that repeat business, that reputation. And I think you and I have seen it. How many coaches have we seen come and go? Absolutely. I mean, I know you and I had a breakfast one time with two other coaches that I don't think either of them are around anymore. Absolutely. And at that point, we were both going, boy, they've got a lot of experience.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
But I think, we see it. Those business owners who are willing to dig in, they've got a good idea. They've got a good business model. They get support. They can't do it by themselves. I was listening to somebody who was talking about kind of the whole Shark Tank, how do you get venture capital? And they say these people don't listen to what the one person, they want to see that this company has a team or a group of people that are bubbling ideas. Now that owner might have a mentoring group that they work with, but that solo practitioner can get stale so quickly. They need that group. They need that coach, and Coach Rick to keep that motivation and excitement going. I know there's a gentleman you've coached for years. Talk about a roller coaster. You've been there to give him the enthusiasm, and I think we both know someday he's going to be a famous shoemaker, and we're both going to go, we knew Jamie in way back when. Yeah. But I think is those owners need someone who's going to be encouraging and helping them through it, because it gets tough.
Yeah. And you've mentioned this one word twice since we've been talking, and I think it's really important, particularly for the people that are within your sweet spot, because you've got some business owners that are just out there dying on the vine, and really all they need to do is reinvest or invest in themselves through a Steve Pitcairn to help to nudge them back into the center so that they can really look at things, as my wife says, with through better lenses, through different kinds of lenses.
I kind of call it that glass ceiling. The owner has been growing and growing and growing, but as they've grown, they haven't changed as a manager, as a leader. And all of a sudden they hit a ceiling that they can't get more growth, or if they do, they're having to work so much more. Absolutely. And that's where I think the coach like myself can go in and help them get to the next level. No longer be self-employed, but be an owner where you're driving your business, not having to be the business.
Right, exactly.
And that's my sweet spot. Typically for someone who is in insurance, who's a medical dental practice, we're looking 250 to 500 up to $1 million. For somebody who's more of a retail manufacturer, we're going up to $5 million. It's somebody who has employees, who needs help getting the most out of their team. One of my favorite things is working with an owner to develop their sales team, because that owner can't do it for their sales team. They've got to motivate their sales team to get results.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Steve works with businesses that are already established.
Correct.
That are anywhere between $250,000 to $5 million in revenue. And so that is another, that's another talk point or another area that you really drive the businesses to really be able to find what their niche is. And you found yours. So that's an important thing. So that's another recipe, if you will, help them to develop. Let's talk about the experience that you have, because once again, until these people see you in action, they haven't seen the true Steve Pitcairn, like we've seen the Steve Pitcairn. Tell us about how your experience has really prepared you for what you're doing.
Well, I think in retail, and again, I did that for so many years. I was a general manager, and it was one of those things you just do one thing. You had to make sure multiple things were happening. You know, one day I could be talking with the team in cosmetics and the cosmetics area manager, the next day to the housewares manager, and you go, well, what is pots and pans? And it's all about selling stuff or managing a business. And that's what I love about this is I'm helping owners understand how to run a business. I don't know how to tell a doctor to do an exam. I don't know how to tell a contractor to wire somebody, but I can tell them how to and help teach them how to manage people so they're more effective. I can help them understand how to manage their finances, and more than anything, how to get that vision, how to know, hey, this is what I want to achieve in 3 years or 5 years, and this is how I'm going to get there.
Wow.
Because again, it's the old story. What is it, 97% of people, or 90% of the wealth is with the 3% of people who have a written plan of what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Boy, how many of us have a hope for what we want to achieve instead of the plan?
Well, I tell you, as someone that I have a lot of respect for, says the proof is in the tasting of the pudding. And I will tell you the difference between writing your goals and that vision and not writing them is all the difference in the world. And I live that, quite honestly, in our business. My wife is the one that writes every single thing down, and by the end of the day and by the end of the week, you can look at her planner and you can tell what she's gotten done.
Yeah, she is incredible.
That
you did so well.
Look, I'm thankful. I'm thankful to God every day.
Spouse, business partner, and friend.
Oh, I tell you,
the triumph.
As I say, I tell her sometimes I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm really happy, so I'm continuing to work to do that. Let's talk a little bit more too. You've talked a bit about a few types of companies, but I really want to drive this point home. And for the folks who are out there, I want you to be able to get in contact with Steve at 731-426-2952. That's Steve Pitcairn. Steve, if you'll tell them, the folks in the audience, the client that you're looking for, and just some traits of those companies.
That ideal client really has a business about $1 million. That ideal client has anywhere from 8 to 20 employees. He knows, or she, because over half my clients are women-owned businesses, but they know they can be doing more business. They have come to the realization that they are probably holding their business back, that it's not the economy, it's not the people, it's truly if they do something slightly different, they will see incredible growth, but they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
We got a little friend here.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of keep it from being stale. Huh?
Yeah. But on the other hand, that's where we see amazing results. Coaching is not a 20-year partnership. Coaching is really where we come in anywhere from 12 to 20 months and really help them get their business over that hump to the next level. And then we're there to support them.
Yeah. Okay. What would you say would be one of your most challenging situations?
A client that has made too many mistakes and they're up to their necks in debt. There's only so much you can do. It's more one of those things, you can help them with an austerity budget, but sometimes those people have waited too long. A business needs to be looking at their financials, and if they feel that debt is starting to drown them, don't wait. Get some assistance. Talk to their accountant, get a coach, talk to a trusted advisor, a banker. But you know what? When you start feeling you got too much debt, you're probably too late.
Wow, man. And I would imagine that by far the most frustrating thing is when they come to you for help. And you have given them a prescription, if you will, and asked to do steps 1, 2, and 3. And then, as we do in the coaching business, follow up with them the next week or two to see if they've done those things. And you know they're drowning, and you've given them very clear-cut directions. And I would imagine sometimes you get folks that just...
Well, there are some people who aren't coachable. And again, as a coach, I'm not telling them what to do. I'm helping them come up with what is the best plan. I'll give them training. I'll give them information. I'll brainstorm, because it's got to be their plan, not my plan. But if they don't do it, and even with the gentle encouraging and sometimes not so gentle encouraging from a coach, if they don't continue to do it, a lot of times after 2-3 months, I'll say, you know what? It was good to know you.
Wow.
I can't work with you because I don't want to be taking their money if they're not committed to growth. More than anything, what I see is I'll meet with somebody and it's probably later than they need to have waited, and I'll have a coffee. I'll meet with anybody for an hour just to help talk to them and understand their business to see if I can help them. But then they decide not to go with coaching, or they say, I'm going to think about it, and then you see that they've closed their doors. That's the killer to me. And you know, you think about it, we've both been coaches in 08, 09. It was gruesome out there for business owners. And boy, there were some good people who probably ran good businesses in 06, 07, but they didn't prepare for 08, and the bottom fell out on them.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I knew this was going to happen. Just when we start getting warm, the time draws to an end. In one sentence, if you could tell the folks out there just something to really think of doing as it relates to their business, what would that be?
Great. The biggest thing to think of is, if you've got a business and you want to grow it, and you believe that there are things that need to happen in your business for it to truly be successful, and you need someone to hold your hand, to help you through it, to make sure it's done and it's done well, that's what a coach is for. Absolutely. I'm here to help you. Ricky's here to help you. The key is that you need a coach who's going to hold you accountable. You don't need a friend who's not going to tell you, you're in the wrong path. You need a coach who's going to say, come on, this is what you need to get done. Let's get it done. You've told me how you're going to do it. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you very much. I don't think that it could be any more direct than that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from Steve Pitcairn with Clear Vision. He can be reached at steve@clearvision.us.com, by phone at 731-426-2952. I am